Okay, hi everyone. Wondering if you can hear me, see me. It's the old man. Here we are. Not Slip, hello. Good to see you again, Devlin. Commander Torres. Hey everyone. Yes, we are back with the daylight savings, which now means we have this bizarre situation of, you know, the stream starting around dusk, and a very gray dusk it is. But here we are. Good to see you guys. Let's get this going on. All right. How is everybody? It is really good to be back with you on this unusually bright evening. But yeah, you know, we'll spend a few weeks getting used to this, and then we'll be used to it, and then daylight savings will go back in the fall, and we'll be starting in pitch darkness again. So it is what it is. But it's wonderful to be here with you guys on another Thursday evening. Let's see. That's right. It's this bizarre thing that we do here in the States with our time zones and what have you. I don't think daylight savings is a thing anywhere else in the world. But it's wonderful to see you. Jackie Valentine, how are you? How are you? How is everyone? I hope you guys have been having a very good week. This week has been good in terms of, like, you know, taking care of home business, as it were. Taking care of, like, getting going on some channel business. So that's a positive, favorable thing. But let's see what everyone's reading tonight. Devlin is rereading Don't Fear the Reaper. Awesome. Not Slip is reading The Poet Empress. That's right, it's a new fantasy. It's very cool. I'm going to be tackling some more short fiction tonight. But here's a fun thing. In addition to that, it's very possible that I might dig into some, like, really old and obscure vintage science fiction. If George were here, this would tickle him immensely. But out of my some of my old paperback book boxes, some of them, like, really going back to some old ones, Ace Doubles, if you remember those. I found this. This is an old book by a fellow named Keith Laumer. Some of you may have heard of him. Very big in his day, pretty much, you know, a forgotten figure today, but this is very much a Cold War influenced science fiction kind of, you know, thriller from the early, like, pre-Thomas 1960s. And I thought it'd be fun to maybe, you know, take a bite out of that, get back into a whole different era of science fiction, just because I think it would tickle me to do that. You know, I have read the first chapter, and, you know, it's enjoyably silly so far. Let me put it that way. So yeah, so I may, in addition to Ronald Malfi's book, I'll probably be digging into that tonight. Commander Toy has been doing better than last week. Good to hear. Very warm where Devlin is, apparently. Mike is finishing up on Sunday. She picked flowers. Oh, interesting. Very cool that you picked that up. Mike, I'll be curious to know what you thought of it. Commander Torres is continuing 7 recipes for Revolution, and then switching to the Immortal Hulk. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. And Smoke and Shadows by Katrina Martinez. Finishing your Reddit Fantasy bingo board. Ah, okay. Wanted Smoke and Shadows by Tanya Huff. Oh, well, no, you can find that later on. Very cool. Yeah, Mike, we're all really curious to know your feelings on that one. You know, I've got it in my never-ending pile. So, you know, I will get around to it, I'm sure. At some point, hopefully sooner rather than later. But yes, I hope all of you have been having a wonderful week. Like I said, this has actually been a good one for me for a change. Things have been, like, in a productive mode. You know, the wheels seem to be nicely greased and running smoothly, so that's nice to know. And I hope that the same has been holding true for all of you. It feels really pleasant out here tonight. But with this nice new clear weather has come a little bit of a cold snap. When I say cold, it's like down, into the low mid 50s Fahrenheit. So feels good now. Probably put my coat on for second session when the sun sets, but otherwise, Kel Switch, good to have you here. Yeah. So I don't really have too much else in the way of announcements, other than, as always, I'm overjoyed to be with you guys. So, yeah. So let's see how we doing on stream tonight. Just a modest number of folks turned up tonight, but always good to have you. I like, the nice, quiet, chill streams. Kitchen Witch, hello. You're back reading Nobody's Baby by Olivia Waite. It was from near 80 degrees yesterday to snow today. Wow. Crazy. Okay. Wow, Kel Switch. When it comes to very highly specific theme anthologies, I think you may have a winner there. But that's interesting. I'm gonna have to find out some information about that one. Intersectional feminist bicycle science fiction stories. I mean, just the creativity is endless. Anyway, awesome and wonderful to have you guys here. And let's see what else I got going on. Well, yeah, like I said, no other real big announcements. So, let me go ahead and I'll get the timer going. And we'll just get this all knocked out. 45 minutes. A small collection of short stories. Yeah, I can imagine. That sounds like very much of a small press labor of love sort of thing. I mean, they're so way cool. All right. Then, hey, let's start. 45 minutes and counting, first session. And if we get a train or two passing by, I'm sure Kel Switch is ready with the train facts and the train info for the week. So, all right. Deep breath. Find your reading center, and on we go. Well, here's another thing I usually don't remember to take into account when I'm reading a print book. I always need to make sure is the lighting out here good enough, because when I'm on my iPad, it's all backlit and whoops, speaking of, no, that was the phone. But I think I should be fine. It's not going to be too dim, I don't believe. Chris, hello, good to have you. Glad you're here. Glad you made it. So, again, if you're lurking, that's fine, but still, if you want to say hi, don't be shy. Let us know what you're reading in the comments. And yeah, the Nightbirds are nice, so I'm just going to let them take over and shut up. Yeah, they're right there in that tree behind me. They're right there. Can you see them? Right there. Yeah. You can probably see them. Does anybody know their birds well enough to identify that song, the chirp? Yeah. I have one of those bird buddies, smart birdhouses. That has a camera on it, and then it identifies the bird when the bird comes up to eat. But it's way over there, so I'm not gonna away with these guys. Hello, Aaron. Welcome. Well, that's an ambitious start. I am into that one as well. Just slowly, gradually making my way through it, so welcome. All right. Okay, I see what you mean. What, is that like some app where you can just like hold your phone up like Shazam to identify a song? Like you can hold your phone up and it'll identify the bird sound? Because if that's what it is, I need to install it. It's awesome. Okay. I'm just going to... Very cool. Okay, I'm going to install that. We do have a lot of cardinals around here. Quite a few. They are bullies when it comes to the bird feeder. It's wild. Yeah. Oh, I can imagine, Devlin. Okay, I'm definitely going to install it tonight. Merlin. Got it. Yeah, the cardinals are beautiful when they show up at the feeder, but they are bullies. They are total jerks to the other birds. Just like chasing them off and so. That's great. That is cool. Oh my gosh, kill switch, yeah, I can imagine. Just this endless litany of fundraising texts. They're so annoying. Blue Jays. That's correct about Blue Jays, Susie. Right. Yeah. I wonder if I should scoot up. Reposition my chair like this. There, that, yeah. That way I don't have to move the table anymore. Okay. Backyard Bird Chronicles by Amy Tan. Okay. See, I learned so much from you guys. I really do. Very cool. Wow, what incredible jerks Blue Jays are. Wow. They're finding their little evolutionary niche. Okay, so these guys have gone kind of quiet for the moment. I don't know if they've gone somewhere else or checking out some other trees, but I do think that that's the one they live in. I think so. Very cool. So if you're just turning up to the stream, let us know what you're reading tonight. Glad to have you. feisty. Uh-oh, getting feisty inside. That is Orson. You all remember Orson. That's his little yipe. Oh, much bigger than puppies, but there are always puppies in here. Definitely. Silly pups. Okay, that one is Nikon, who is the Dutch Shepherd, who was hanging out at a dumpster behind a convenience store rescue. So, and he is a very sweet boy. Y'all haven't seen him, but he's blind in his right eye. You can see the damage there in his right eye. And so some of his ears a little chewed, so he definitely has had a rough past. But he's a vocal boy, and he's very people-y. Like to the point of just like that. If he's not around us as much as he would like to be. So yeah. But. Yeah, I think so. But. Hang on, I'm going to get up for just a second. My coat's just right there. It's starting to get just chilly enough that I want to go ahead and have it on. So, hang on. That is much better. Just enough of a lingering chill to be an issue. All I'm doing is sitting here, right? Where are the trains? It's very quiet tonight. Very quiet. I don't know. It might have, but it's... Wait. Okay, we might be getting a visit. I don't know if there's still really bad weather out east. We just had rain, pretty heavy rain for like a day here. That wouldn't be enough to disrupt any trains, I wouldn't think. Severe storms and tornadoes all along the storm's path. No. Well, I hope it wasn't too bad, but I think we're okay here. True, kill switch. Yeah. Oh, here we go. First trains in Japan, 1872 to 1906. Saga Domain. That sounds so much like a video game. And that is some deep train history. I have to say. Way more of the story than numbers and dates. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of tech facts, indeed. K9. Good to see you. Well, glad to see you on your one Thursday that you have free. Very good. Yeah, it's been a pretty mellow night, as Killswitch indicates. Well, one choo-choo at least, but... No worry, good timing, Killswitch, because it is intermission time. That is first session done and dusted, so... See you guys in 5. Now that the darkness has settled in, I'm going to light these tea lights. See you soon. Whoops. Thank you, K9. Okay, we're back. As I was saying, got 2 of the 3 screens lit. I'll try for a couple more of these. I'm having a hard time with my barbecue lighter, so hope I'm back now. And I filled these with fluid myself, so I'm just going to do a couple more and then have a seat and get back to reading. But I have started the countdown for session 2, so 45 minutes, and give me just 1 second. All right. That should be all that's needed because I think... yeah, there we go, because I'm blocking the other ones anyway, so that'll be fine. All right, so now we have tea lights as the darkness descends. We are into session 2. If you're just now turning up to the stream, welcome. This is my Thursday night chill reading hangout, as always. Say hi in chat if you haven't done so. Let us know what you have brought to read tonight, what book you're into. And I'm going to get back into my story. That's right, you're out to the west, aren't you, K9? It does sound like Stardew Valley. Yeah, they're saying hi. Yeah, that is one of ours in the backyard, I'm pretty sure, yeah. And she's getting kind of loud. It's not too late though. Yeah. Not quite barking at the moon, but the twilight bark. I like that. That's a good phrase. Oh my, everybody's talkative tonight. That's Orson again. And then that one's Nava. No, wait, that's not the... Okay, that right there, that is Nikon. Oh. When it's bedtime and he has to go in the front room, he's not a huge fan of that, but... Orson is doing great. Orson's very well, yeah. Got to get him his next round of his Pro Heart shot, but we are going to get him looked at and see, like, you know, what is the progress with his heartworms. You know, we didn't get him the gold standard treatment. We're doing the different sort of thing where you just kind of start giving him heartworm medicine, and then the existing heartworms can't reproduce, but then so when they die, they'll just die, and then, you know, that's kind of how we've been doing it with him. But yeah, that the whining yipe that you hear is Nikon, and as I mentioned earlier, Nikon is a puppy that we rescued who was like hanging out around dumpsters behind a convenience store a few miles away, and he just has that kind of bark. It's a very sort of, you know, it's a high pitched. He can sound very whiny, especially when he gets all excited or he wants attention, which he wants a lot of. We think he might have been used as, you know, for backyard breeding or what have you. He's had a rough life. He's blind in this eye. And also his, you know, ear is a little ragged right here. So he's had some violent episodes with at least another dog and probably some people in his life. But he'd been wandering around this convenience store for about 3 weeks, you know, and everyone is like, you know, getting on the local Facebook group saying, you know, someone pick up this dog. Someone pick up this dog. So I'm just like, people pick up the dog. So finally, you know, Holly was like, screw it, gonna go pick up the dog. He's a Dutchie. Very high energy. And because he's blind in one eye and we don't think the vision is super great in the other eye, he's, you know, he's excitable, he loves to play, he likes people attention. But he just quite often just crashes into things, including me. And it's just like getting walloped with a big, you know, cloth bag of sticks, you know, because he's just all elbows and knees and bone, you know, he's, you know, we feed him very well, but he does not seem to be putting on a lot of weight, so we want to get him looked at for that. You know, just to see if he's, what's going on inside him, because we know that he has heartworms as well. But what we don't know is if there's anything else that might be wrong at the moment, if he's got some kind of renal issue or what have you. But he's got a pile of energy. He doesn't act sick, but he just seems really skinny. Even though he gets a a lot of food. So we're gonna probably try to take him in tomorrow or Monday at the absolute latest to get him looked over, and just what he needs. So, because we think he's probably due for his. Ooh, excuse me. Well, we got him his rabies and parvo booster actually when we took him in, but I think he's probably due for just some, like his Provecto, his flea treatment, and what have you. And I think he's due for a 6-month ProHeart as well. But if anything else is up, hopefully his labs are okay. Because he's a good dog, and he deserves a happy life. And we know of someone up in the Pacific Northwest who works with GSDs and Dutchies and Malleys, that general breed of dog. And sometimes if they're a little bit broken, a little bit disabled, rehabilitates them. So hopefully this, Holly's trying to get in contact with this person, and because I think it's actually through a mutual friend, and fingers crossed, she'll get back with us. So the best scenario would be, yeah, I'll take him. That would be wonderful. We love him, but he's a lot, and we've already got our dogs, and so many of the other fosters that we have to deal with. And what he deserves is, just the one owner or the family, maybe a couple, who can give him the specific kind of attention that he needs, the training that he'll respond to, just the ability to run and play. He needs to be, someone's only dog, right? That's what he needs. So hopefully we can find him that. The thing about fostering is, you get attached, but you can't get attached. And it is a lot. It takes a lot out of you. Not just financially, but just, there's the realization that, they're all just big babies. And they're, children in this human world, canine children in this human world. They didn't ask to be in the situation they're in, and they all animals deserve to be cared for, and to have a loving family and a home and affection and attention, and so I'm glad that we're doing that and contributing to that and helping them, the ones that we don't keep, that we're able to be a transitional spot for them. You want to keep them all, but you can't, It's just too much. But then you want to know that when it's time if you find someone and they're able to move on, it's got to be the right circumstance for them. Because you don't want them to go out of the frying pan into the fire. You don't want to care for a lost dog, a stray dog, for several months. Getting them to trust people, getting them back to health, getting them used to what it's like to have a home, only for them to end up in a bad situation where the people can't keep them, and either end up in a shelter or worse, just dumped back on the road. People need to serve long prison sentences who do that. Dog abandonment. I'm zero tolerance for that. I see red when I think of people who do that. So hopefully we'll, sorry, went off on a little soliloquy there, but hopefully we'll be able to, start getting these guys placed in good places starting in the spring, and it'll be a load off of us, pressure off of us, and good life for them, right? I appreciate that, RFM. Yeah, it's But yeah, they're just all. Sometimes it's just a house of big, rowdy, naughty kids. You know, just how it is. But yeah, but Orson's wonderful, canine. Yes, and he is Holly's. He's part of the permanent family now. Yeah. Neither can I. I mean, I just don't. You just take him out in a car and. Yeah, they totally can't understand it. They have no capacity to understand it. They're going out with the human that they trust, and then the human just like takes them out to some. They don't know where they are, and then just leaves. And so the dog, so the dog must be thinking something like, okay, well they'll be back. I'll just wait for them, because they do that. They'll just like stay in the spot for a while, and then the person just doesn't come back, and then they get the abandonment issues, and yeah, it's just such cruelty, such mental cruelty to do to them. Yeah. You're right, Kitchen Witch. A lot of people go on, the animal groups on social media, and they'll leave their little hearts, and look, and here's the thing. Also, I don't begrudge people who can't do more. You don't know what somebody's life is, right? Everybody's dealing with a lot of stuff, and not everyone can take in a pet. Not everybody can, donate money to a, charity or a GoFundMe or a shelter or what have you. But they want it to be known that they, that they care. But we're all, so many people are going through tough times right now. So, I try not to begrudge folks. I try not to consider people hypocritical if they can't do more. Many times people just can't. You don't have the bandwidth for it, right? You're trying to, just make ends meet and all that sort of thing. So, yeah. Fox and the Hound. Oh, wow. Yeah. You're right. But yes, abandoning an animal is just, yes. It's no different than like just, you doing that to a toddler. A toddler would have no more capacity to understand what was happening to them if you just drove them to the side of a highway and set them out and drove off. Really, it's just, yeah. So I know my dog Taj, who has, the brain tumor issue, I know he was an abandonment case. I know he was abandoned for sure. Had to be, because he was probably about 5 years old already when I got him. And then when I got it, when we got him, picked him up, he was found to have heartworms, and maybe that's why the person just didn't want to deal with this dog who was sick and they couldn't afford to, but to me, that's, once you make the decision to do that, though, that's not, I think, an excuse. But, so, and, yeah, so they feel really bad anxiety, yeah. Rates of abandonment increasing, correct, yeah. That's what we've had in this area, my little town in this sort of rural area in northeast Texas. It's, during lockdown, people got pets, a company of pets, and then, either got tired of the pet or didn't just, the pet got to be a little bit too much or something. But then they don't spay or neuter the pets too. And so they neglect the dog. Dog goes running around town. And suddenly you have, pregnant dogs and cats. Same thing going on with cats too. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, especially, I agree, Mike, because it's such an act of betrayal, especially when you consider that those pets will be more loyal to you than just about any human you know, right? I mean, a dog will have a sense of loyalty to you that humans won't. Or I mean, and not to say that nobody's loyal to anyone ever, but I think maybe some people have a line, or something a person will just present a false face, and they'll make you think they are who they aren't, what have you. But I think the dog just doesn't really understand. I mean, they just, when they imprint on their person, then that's you're their safe space, you're their protector, and so yeah, that's why I just consider it incredibly heinous, when a person will abandon a dog. Yeah, oh yeah, that is correct, Devlin. That is correct. Yeah, kitchen witch, it needs to be a felony. That's what I think. It needs to be like, a Class C felony or something. It's got to have a harsh response, I think, before people will just consider it a thing not even worth doing. And hopefully they'll reconsider getting a pet in the first place if they think that, if the pet turns out to be, not the right choice, that they'll do that. Sort of them to know, yes. Or just, and think, and I would, kill switch, I would also add, just think really hard first. I mean, I think, don't just get a pet because, just because they're cute, and, I mean, even if like you have a kid and your kid's just begging for a pet, I mean, think a lot about the situation. Can we afford the vet bills? Can we afford the food? Is there time in the day to devote to walking and playing and attention? And am I going to be cool with it if they get on the sofa? Because, I mean, good Lord, if you have a dog, let your dog on the sofa, right? I mean, and if that bothers you, if you don't like hair all over things, don't get a dog. Don't be these people who are like, oh, well, I want a dog, but I need a breed that doesn't shed because I don't want the hair all over my floor. I mean, if you're going to be that persnickety, just don't get the dog, right? Just think it through before you make the choice. And I promise, I mean, if more people did that, then, I'm convinced, 80, 90% of the pet abandonment, dumping, just the problems out there with just too many pets and not enough homes that want them would evaporate if people just thought it through beforehand. Just don't get the dog unless you've really thought it through first, just don't, it's easy to, you go to these like little adoption events and you see these adorable puppies, right? And so it's very easy to get immediately smitten, and then maybe you have a child and the child's like, Daddy, I want one, and it's all, yeah, but even then, just don't act on impulse with a pet. Just think it through first, that's all. So that's my soapbox. Thank you for putting up with me, everyone, on the pet ownership soapbox. But you're all contributing excellent thoughts as well. Yeah, take them to the local shelter. Pet rock or a fish, yeah. Or a Furby or something, I don't know. I know that there are harsher penalties that have been enacted for, like, outright abuse of pets. I don't know about, like, just the dumping. I mean, I know dumping is, I mean, like here, if they catch you in Texas, Frank, I mean, they'll bust you if, you're seeing, if you go there. And there are known dumping areas, like stretches of highway and things, where the cops and animal control and local rescues know, like, people go there, And I think sometimes they may, like, mount a trail camera or something to try to catch the folks or catch a license plate or something, so. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, never get a fur. Yeah. Oh, especially because for children, yeah, you can't treat it like a toy at Christmas. So a child is like interested in the toy for 15 minutes, and then they kind of, they move on to the next thing, right? I mean, children are just not developed until they get to a certain age, maybe. Like, if they really realize that this is not a new toy, this is your friend, and it's a living thing. Yeah, so Furby's not decided yet now. Yeah. Yes, because you probably will be, especially if you get a pet and for a small child, you will be the one doing most of the feeding and the walking. Because, the child might play with the dog for a little bit, but then I don't know that the child has the emotional bandwidth to, like, really give themselves over to just, like, the care of an animal and to understand, like I said, until a certain age, beyond a certain age, they'll start to develop that sense of responsibility. But yeah. Crack my neck. Excuse me, everyone. Oh. Good to hear, Killswitch. And didn't that take most of, like, the second session to cool down? How hot did you have it? I think I remember right when we got back from intermission, you were like, well, I'm going to let my soup cool. And now here we are nearly at the end, and you're like, okay, it's cool now. My God. Very hot indeed. But, anyway, though, yeah. I will say, at that little moment of levity, that is second session. And so, hey, as always, I want to thank all of you guys for coming here on Thursday night. I love my SFF180 family. I love you guys very much. So thank you so much for spending this very pleasant night with me, and for the nice chat and the good reading time. So, again, as always, barring anything unforeseen, and of course I will let you know, I will see you here exactly the same time next Thursday. And so, yeah, so please, let's see, hang on, let me just make sure I'm, boop, all right, yep. So as I always say, please stay safe and healthy, all right? And, yes, have a great month, K9. I'm sorry we don't get to see you more frequently, but I'm glad you're here when you can be here, all right? And, of course, there is always the Discord. So, Mike, everybody, Killswitch, the whole crew, take care. See you soon. See you next time. Good night.